the bottom.
Hi, Alice. Thank you for being here. So, you know, you've been doing this show with Emily for quite some time now. So, how do you keep it fresh?
Yeah, this is. We were here early 2016, and we had a couple of runs. So yeah, well, we did add a couple of. We changed a couple things. We added 3 solos. So that'll be something different than the last time.
Do you find by now that, it's been, what, like 20 years since Sideshow? Do you find when you talk to her that maybe you've kind of become the other Hilton sister?
No, not really. It's really an illusion, and I'm delighted that it seems to have taken hold so well. People still call me Emily today, to this day. I consider it a compliment. There's something that happens when the two of us get together because we each have separate trajectories and totally different careers and things going on. Although we've done 3 shows together, but that was a while ago since we did a show together. But there's something about when we come together. It has to do with the sound of our voices and our history, but also a lot of it has to do with the audience. The audience defines who we are because they see us as twins, and it really is a great illusion that everybody created that we were, identical. We seemed identical, but also the world that's created is the 2 decades that have passed, and the audience has grown up with us and seen us go through all kinds of things, and we're still here, and I'm really proud of our show. It's funny, makes you laugh, makes you cry. We like to drag each other over the coals, just for fun.
So, how do you, when you're, putting together your set list with her, how do you go around? Like, do you lay all the songs that you could possibly sing on a table and then you get to work?
Yeah, well, it usually goes through changes. By the time you end up with something that feels like it's a show that has a shape to it. And we did do 2 runs of the first round, so that's why we thought it was time to take a couple things out and introduce some new things. So one of the songs I'm singing that I didn't sing before is Losing My Mind, Stephen Sondheim. It's one of my favorite songs, and I love the lyric that says, "Sometimes I stand in the middle of the floor, not going left, not going right." It means that I can just stand there and not have to move while I'm singing. It takes the pressure off of you. But when our voices come together, there's some kind of magic that happens, and it's still there. So I'm really grateful for that, to have that experience.
I'm so afraid of darkness, and down here it's just like nighttime.
Right, and speaking of things you're grateful for, your first show is the week after Thanksgiving. So, what are some other things that you're thankful for this year?
Oh my goodness. Well, I do like to focus on appreciation. 'Cause sometimes gratitude can come from a place of lack, and I don't really do that anymore. But I really appreciate. Well, there's so many things I appreciate. I really do. I appreciate Feinstein's 54 Below for giving me a home, second home. I appreciate the audience for always being there for me as the decades go by, and I appreciate New York City for being a place that inspires people and makes people want to come together and create something beautiful. Yeah, I mean, those are the big ones for me.
Which Thanksgiving treat are you looking forward to the most?
Well, I'm not one of those pumpkin people, but I do love pumpkin pie. I mean, I'm not really a pumpkin spice person at all. But pumpkin pie I could eat for breakfast, lunch, or dinner, or all 3. So it's probably, but I love mashed potatoes and gravy. So it's a toss-up between the 2. I'm not doing very well. This is like fat, carbs, and calories.
Which is what Thanksgiving's for.
Yeah, and then, my brother who's a doctor, he says you can't run off your diet, but then I'll get up the next day and do a couple miles. I feel better about myself.
Right. And as we enter a holiday season, are there any songs from musicals or from popular music that make you just get into the holiday spirit?
I will admit that the Carpenters were a big reason why I got into music when I was a kid, and so their Christmas Portrait album is my favorite Christmas album, and Merry Christmas, Darling. Yeah. Greeting cards have all been sent, the Christmas rush is through, but I still have one wish to make, a special one for Jose. I was going to say Jose, and the S got in there. But that song, yeah, that's the one that takes me back to like all the happy Christmas times. Something about that melody, the ease of it, and that it's real confident, that things are great, peaceful. It makes me feel really happy when I hear it.
So I love the Sondheim show that you do at Feinstein's 54 Below as well. And are there any Sondheim songs that get you in the Christmas mood? Or any, maybe something from Follies makes you think of Christmas?
Well, I would say, any Sondheim song feels like Christmas because it's almost always such an amazing package that you can't wait to open. For example, the song I Remember, it's not about Christmas, but it's introspective and it talks about falling snow, and it could feel Christmassy. Yeah, that's probably my favorite Sondheim song. It's from Evening Primrose. You know that one? Yeah.
TV especially so beautiful.
So pretty. Yeah.
Won't you please stand down
And the last thing I guess that I'll ask you is what else is on your Christmas wish list for this year?
Oh, well, I'm dreaming of peace and tranquility. I'm in hope right now. I've crawled up out of despair because I've had a few really hard years. But I don't want to stay in hope too long. Hope is a season. If you stay there too long, you just live your life hoping, But you need to be there for a little while. And Christmas is the perfect time to have hope. I decided this season I'm going to get myself a puppy for Christmas. Never had a dog before that was my own. And I think it's a real show of hope for myself on my own part. So that's on my list, to find a little creature that needs me and be there for it completely. And I really hope that the city continues. We seem to be unfolding in kind of an amazing way after the trauma that we all experienced last year and throughout the entire year, as a matter of fact. But it seems like it's making us more resilient than ever and more committed than ever to communicating clearly what's in our hearts. And New York is filled with artists. Actually, America is filled with artists. We all came from Europe, when we came over and barged in and took over this land. But I think that maybe we're spinning in a really wonderful way as artists right now. And we've decided we're not going to take it anymore. We've decided that we're going to be kind, no matter what, brutally kind. And this is a good thing. I don't know if you can feel it, but I really I think in New York you can feel this kind of thing if you want to, because we are out there on foot. We are in the trenches of the city. You can feel it, and it feels positive, and which is a miracle considering what we've had to all go through recently. But if we go through it together, we grow and it works. If we splinter off, and I don't think we're going to make it. So this is great,
Yep.
right?
And
Yeah.
in the meantime, thank God for music and art, right?
Absolutely. I mean, the artists are the ones that are the last one to be picked for the team, but it's only because we're sometimes taken for granted, or maybe all the time taken for granted. But, as long as there's a purple light somewhere behind a piece of glass that looks beautiful, you and I will always follow that, and then people will go, what are they looking at? Because they have nothing else to do. what are they going to do, sit around and complain about stuff all the time? We can't do that either. Like, really, the best thing that you can do when you're in pain is to make something beautiful out of it. And it might take a while. You might need help getting there, but that's what we're doing here. Like, that's what music's about. That's what theater's about, right? So, it sounds idealistic, but it has to be. And if we feel taken for granted, it doesn't matter. Because in the end, they'll all still turn and look at what we're doing. And they'll be like, hey, thanks for doing that. Thanks for showing us where that purple light was, or, that meaning, whatever it is that you happen to be creating and you're interested in. So.
Well, thank you for those beautiful words, and thank you for joining us, and happy holidays.
You're so sweet.
Is just